not funny. Look, there's way too many.
I didn't say it was.
I know, but I mean, there's way too, and he can't think it's funny. There's way too many unstable people out in the streets right now at this time of impassioned and heightened passions. We all know it. We've all seen it. We have seen the results of harassment. We've seen the results of shootings. We've seen the result of violence out in the street. And for the President of the United States, who is supposed to be unifying this country, on a July 4th, weekend, to be tweeting out incitement to violence. It is incitement to violence. Let us not parse words. Let us not call it by any other name. It is disgusting by this president. Yet one more disgusting act.
We'll have to leave it there. Thanks all of us. Thanks to all of you for joining us, and happy July 4th. And I'm joined now by White House Homeland Security and Counterterrorism Advisor Thomas Bossert. Welcome to This Week, Mr. Bossert.
Thank you.
I want to get to security questions and security concerns, but we've just had the president tweet a GIF that I want you to take a look at. You can see it right there. Obviously, President Trump has taken some video and put a CNN Mike logo on who he's beating up on. Can I just get your reaction to that?
Well, my first time seeing it, Martha, but first, thank you for having me on the show. I very much appreciate it. I guess my first reaction to that tweet would be the same as any of the president's tweets. There's a lot of cable news shows that reach directly into hundreds of thousands of viewers, and they're really not always very fair to the president. So I'm pretty proud of the president for developing a Twitter and a social media platform where he can talk directly to the American people. In fact, he's the most genuine president and the most non-politician president that we've seen in my lifetime. And he's demonstrated, whatever the content of that particular tweet is or any tweet, he's demonstrated a genuine ability to communicate to the people.
He certainly can communicate to the people, but I want to ask you, is that the kind of communication you want, that he's beating up on somebody?
Well,
that he's beating up on the media?
Right.
You're in charge of Homeland Security there. Yep. That seems like a threat.
Yeah, certainly not, though. I think that no one would perceive that as a threat. I hope they don't. But I do think that he's beaten up in a way on cable platforms that he has a right to respond to. And he does that regularly.
And you don't think that's a threat to anyone? You don't think that's sending a message? Do that to the media? Do that to CNN?
No, I certainly don't. I don't think so. And I think that importantly here, he's a genuine president expressing himself genuinely. And to be honest, I think that's why he was elected. He's the most genuine person, and the people that see politicians and then see him find him to be someone that they can understand and relate to. And so,
okay, I got to stay on this for a minute.
Yeah.
Sarah Sanders said recently, the president in no way, form, or fashion has ever promoted or encouraged violence. If anything, quite the contrary.
Yeah.
He's simply pushing back, defending himself. But you know what happened to Congressman Scalise, and you have these messages out there against the media. The media has had, and I hate this to be all about us, but he's making it about us, or particularly CNN, I suppose. Some people had to get private security guards.
Yeah.
Is that really fair?
Yeah, so I think that the most important part of my message isn't just that he's genuine. It's that he's found a way of communicating directly to the people without going through whatever the media outlet is.
But I understand that. I'm talking about the message, not how he communicates.
But it's a good example of you or the media producers here deciding what it is that we talk about and what it is we don't talk about. And so with respect, I think that that's why he needs to go around you and the producers that control the message and directly to the people and whatever he cares about speaking about that day. And occasionally he cares to speak about those cable programs that are beating up on him unfairly.
And with respect, we do talk about other issues, and then when something like this comes up, it distracts from what we really wanted to talk about.
And you're a very substantive person. I know we're going to talk about substantive issues.
Yes, we are.
So I appreciate you asking
we are.
But
And we're back now with the roundtable, and I have a feeling you guys are going to have a little different comments than Tom Bossert had about that GIF. Let's look at it again. This happened just as we were ending our other roundtable. Okay, Anna, I got to start with you.
I'm a CNN commentator. I think that is unacceptable. I think that is the President of the United States taking things way too far. It is an incitement to violence. He is going to get somebody killed in the media. Maybe that will stop him. I am disappointed beyond belief by the answer that the Homeland Security Advisor just gave. What a wuss. What a wuss. You could see that he is ceding his principles. You are the Homeland Security Advisor and you can't stand here and say the difference between right and wrong. That's what's part of the problem. He is surrounded by enablers that do nothing but shake their heads and nod their heads in agreement with everything that he says. They have got to stop. They have got to stand for democracy, for freedom of the press. This is just going way too far. The President of the United States is inciting violence against the free press. And America, we cannot stand for it.
I mean, it is just kind of theater of the absurd, right? I don't think any of us would have thought that this is something that the president, any president, would do. But in particular, it just comes, as you mentioned, right after the shooting of Steve Scalise. Republicans and Democrats said it's time to take the rhetoric down a notch, and this clearly does not do that.
And everyone that we spoke to on the Hill right after that incident said the president was actually quite good on that stage. He was reassuring. He called for the country to get together. He gave a really good speech and visited the hospital to see Steve Scalise. And now this. Listen, I know a lot of people who work for CNN who have to be scared and wondering why the president has decided to physically pummel somebody with the CNN logo on his face. So it'd be interesting to get some reaction.
Nobody at CNN is scared. If anything, this is making each and every one of us more resolute, not to cower at the bullying of this president. This is a free press. This is a free country. This is a democracy. And if he thinks that with these little tricks, he's going to scare Jeff Zucker, he's going to scare anybody at CNN, he's got something different coming. We are resolute at continuing searching the truth, speaking the truth, and calling out right versus wrong.
And I'm sitting here thinking now, what do Americans think when they look at that? What do those voters think who I talked to in Ohio? I know that when we talk about ourselves and we say, oh, it's terrible that he's going after the media, but that's pummeling somebody from CNN?
Well, I think that my guess is the president doesn't regard this as literally inciting people to violence.
I'm sure he thinks it's funny.
And I think that most people see it and they think pro wrestling is fake. Yeah. And they think that's sort of what he's getting at here. The problem is that it's more juvenile behavior. It's something that most people, including a lot of his own supporters, want him to quit doing, and he can't do it. You know, I didn't agree with the way Thomas Bossert was talking about this, but I think he's right that it is genuine in the sense that he is showing us genuinely who the president
Ramesh,
is.
this is not funny. Look, there's way too many.
I didn't say it was.
I know, but I mean, there's way too, and he can't think it's funny. There's way too many unstable people out in the streets right now at this time of impassioned and heightened passions. We all know it. We've all seen it. We have seen the results of harassment. We've seen the results of shootings. We've seen the result of violence out in the street. And for the President of the United States, who is supposed to be unifying this country, on a July 4th, weekend, to be tweeting out incitement to violence. It is incitement to violence. Let us not parse words. Let us not call it by any other name. It is disgusting by this president. Yet one more disgusting act.
We'll have to leave it there. Thanks to all of you for joining us, and happy July 4th. We'll be right back.